Hi, my name is Liza Chuma Akunyili if you're listening to me for the first time, and this is Married in a Year. It used to be Get Married in a Year, but last week I realized we were not doing this right. We're not hoping to get married in a year. We are declaring that we are married in a year. And so the name of the podcast had to be changed. That said, last week was mind-blowing. On Saturday, that is Easter Saturday, I was praying in the morning with a burden on my heart for people on the matchmaking database. What's going to happen? I expected more people to be on the matchmaking database. As a matter of fact, we had more people on the matchmaking database, and then we had a technical glitch that meant we had to pull down some things and restart some things. And so eventually we don't have enough men on the matchmaking database as I had hoped. And so here I am just praying through life generally. The burden had been on my heart maybe 2 days prior. I finished somewhere in between prayer. I knew I was supposed to pick up my phone and go on Threads and make some posts. As I start to make posts, the word of the Lord in my heart is that some people were to meet their spouse on Sunday, which is Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday if you are abroad, Easter Sunday if you are in Africa. Anyway, I start making this post and they were specifically about filling the gap. So you have proximity to your person, but you don't know, you are not aware, you don't know what to do in the moment. And if you've been listening to me or you've consumed any of my content in the last 3 months, you know that Ruth and Boaz have come up, but particularly Isaac and Rebecca. Isaac was grieving his mom. His dad says to Eliezer, go and get my son a wife. Gives him the standard for this wife. Rebecca is going about her business. Eliezer makes a prayer to the Lord and says, oh God, whoever will do this. Rebecca came and does what Eliezer had prayed about. Eliezer goes to her house, tells her family what's up. Rebecca packs her bag, meaning Rebecca was ready before Eliezer showed up. If Eliezer had not shown up, Rebecca would have been a prepared wife who was not married to anyone, right? When she gets to Isaac is grieving his mom. Isaac was not aiming for, Isaac didn't have capacity to look for a wife in that moment, but someone had filled the gap. That's the job of a matchmaker. The revelation for me is that a matchmaker is a romantic intercessor. And so on Saturday, the Lord starts to give me this nudge to make this post. And so I'm making posts about what people need to do, You've seen some articles on my website called Dating in Real Life. That's going to be an ebook, by the way. It's going to be available maybe 10, 12 days from today. It's going to be available on my site as well. And so now that we've put out all of that information, there are people who have strategy, but they have not prayed. And there are people who have prayed who don't have strategy. And so for next week, what we are going to be doing is that we're praying for 7 days. And the prayer is called Ask for a Matchmaker. That's what we're doing next week. I wanted to bring you up to speed before I go into today's podcast. As usual, the podcast will be short, but we're starting season 1 of Married in a Year. It's divided into 6 parts, 3 episodes per part. So this is part 2 called Hard Match. The last one was called Selfish Match. You need to go listen to it. Today we're covering the dating market. We say things like, oh, the dating pool is dirty, and the dating pool is this, and the dating pool is that, and the dating pool is, some people will use the term dating pool, some people will use dating market. I like dating market because of the concept of buying and selling. I'd come into this understanding many years ago before I realized I was even going to go into matchmaking, by the way. I think I was maybe 22, somewhere between 22 to 24, when I'd come into the idea of the dating market as a place where you buy and sell. Why is that your problem? Because you are always buying something and you are always selling something. Some of you see a man in a 3-piece suit and he's like, oh, that happens to you. Like it's a catch your breath moment. And for some men, it's a lady in red. I think one of the most intriguing moments of someone saying something they find attractive at first view was a man saying that he likes women who are not busty when they wear big white t-shirts. And I thought, that's hyper specific. That's really, really hyper specific. And he goes, yeah, it makes you wonder if his woman was wearing his big white t-shirt in the house. It's an absolute turn on for him. And then I met another lady many years ago, again, before I knew I was going to do any of this. She used to be the bomb shot kind of person. And then she starts to date this man who thought maxi dresses were the most sexy things that ever lived. Remembered she was not opposed to it. For her, it was, oh, that sells for him. There's no need giving him nudity if nudity turns him off. When I was practicing as a sex therapist, one of the things that had stood out, one session I had that had stood out to me was the man man complaining that his woman was always naked, and because she was always naked, it made her nudity not very sexually attractive because he always felt like he had a wrong cue. Those people are buying things and selling things sexually. For you, at the beginning of the dating phase, you're not necessarily in the sexual phase, but you're also buying something. When was the last time you saw something attractive about someone that is not sexual in nature, but it sold something to you? It made you want to converse with them. Perhaps it was their wristwatch, or the way their glasses was, or their height, or their face, whatever it was. There's something that sells to you, the tone of their voice. I know that I'm very voice activated. So if I like you, one of the things I say to my friends is that if I've never sent you a voice note, I don't like you. It's as simple as that. You don't need to pray about it. If I've never sent you a voice note, I don't like you. And when I say I don't like you, you're not someone my mind registers. It's not even that I hate you. No, my mind doesn't register your presence. If my mind registers your presence, I will send you a voice note either for something personal. I'm not even trying to pitch anything to you. It's just, I register you enough that I'm not treating you like an email. That's you. You may not be my most personal person, but you do have some level of my attention if I send you a voice note. For some people, it's the length of the conversation. This person is able to hold a good conversation. This person is intelligent in this way. This person is really smart, or this person is very quiet. There was a time in my life when quiet people made a lot of sense to me because the way I managed chaos in that season of my life was by being noisy. But I was not really that noisy when I'm sane, when I'm healed. I'm not that noisy. And I was aware even at that time that, I don't like this noise. So whenever I met people who were quiet, something about them felt like this is my ideal life. You know that thing they say to you that the people you have a crush on are a reflection of what you want in your life? That's also true. So you need to pay attention to what you are buying in the dating market. Because if you don't know what you're buying, there's every possibility that you also don't know what you are selling. Because someone is selling something to you. When you tell your friend about novels and then Instagram starts to advertise novels to you, that's a hyper-specific example because it happened to me, by the way. And Instagram starts advertising novels to you. Why? Instagram can tell from your previous conversations and obviously what they've been tracking about you that this person is in the position to give their money for this thing. Therefore, this is the most valuable person to advertise to if someone is running an advert on Francine Rivers' novels, right? It just makes common sense. So if there's someone who has a great voice and like me would casually send a voice message when they register your presence, they acknowledge your presence, and you are voice activated, then their voice messages would do something for you. Their voice message is going to give you this, I like this. And you may not pay attention to the fact that you are buying it. Now, this person may not be into you, but there's something about listening to their voice message. Now you're listening to it over and over again and you don't understand why you're doing that. You need to know that you are selling. You need to know that someone is buying. Someone is always buying what you're selling, by the way. I made a post on Thread last week. If you don't follow me on Thread, I think you're missing out a lot. But let's assume you don't like Threads. Use Instagram. So what I do is I compress all the posts on Threads into Instagram carousels or into long form posts. And if you can't find them inside the post area, just simply go to the highlight. I put all the prayers together, it's categorized. That's what I'm saying. Go on Instagram or go on Threads. I made this post about the difference between being attractive and being romantic. Attractive is typically who you are. It's what you have. You don't have to go and buy attractiveness. If you're a short person, you don't have to buy height. Your height is attractive to someone. Your eyes are attractive to someone. The length of your hand, the span of your hand is attractive to someone. The way you speak, the tone of your voice, the pitch of your voice, the way you carry yourself, the emotions with which you communicate is attractive to someone. You don't know who yet, but there's someone who it is attractive to. And so attractiveness is what you are already. Attractiveness is who you are already. When you come outside and you are your authentic self, and that's why it's difficult to date appropriately when you are not your authentic self. You actually sabotage your attractiveness when you are not true to yourself. If you are a person who has a strong voice, every time you pretend to have a softer voice than you actually have, you feel less like yourself. And because you feel less like yourself, we actually can sense it. We actually we notice something is off. We don't know what, but we know something is off. That is attractiveness. Being romantic is when you take something that you have and you direct it to one person. So I send a lot of voice messages. Yes, but there's someone I can send a 24 minutes voice message to. And there are people I'll send 30 seconds to. There's someone who is going to call me and say, oh, Liza, I couldn't sleep because I'm dealing with insomnia. Can you talk me to bed? And I will. That is being romantic to the person. So I take something I have that is attractive and I direct it towards one person. In the dating market, you need to take what is attractive about you and project it outwardly. For some people, you have done a terrible business, and I'm going to put myself on the line here in case it helps someone. For the longest time, I apologized for my body. I felt like my body was a distraction. I'm a very smart person. I'm a very intelligent person. I communicate well. I want people to hear my communication before they like my body, but my communication is not on a billboard. My body is when I move though. I like the way people walk, which means I pay attention to the way I walk, which means you're likely to notice the way I walk before you notice the way I talk, except I'm very close to you. So from long distance, you will see my walk. From long distance, you will see my body. You have to get close to me to hear my voice. You have to get close to me for me to speak to you. You have to get close to me to realize that I'm intelligent. Therefore, it is counterproductive that I'm accusatory, that people don't hear my intelligence, that they just see my body. I remember having this conversation with my therapist years ago, and this person was putting it into context. Is everything not you, Liza? Are you not the same person? Are you not the same intelligent person that is a beautiful person? Are you not the same great communicator who is a fantastic singer? Are you not the same person who is an amazing older sister? Are you not the same person that a person likes your head, and this other person likes your arm, and this other person likes your feet, and this other person likes your spirit, and this other person likes the way you pray? Are you not the same person? If you don't honor the fact that you are the same person, you will always keep dividing yourself asunder and wonder why people don't respond. It's you who is the issue. You can't seem to accept all of you and accept your attractiveness and understand that your attractiveness comes to play in the dating market, that someone is buying it. I'm going to close on this note. When Eliezer met Rebecca, how did he know she was a virgin? Go and read your Bible. She was described as a virgin in the same verse. In the same verse where she and Eliezer spoke for the first time about water. In the same verse, or maybe the verse after. How did Eliezer know that she was a virgin? Because that gave her her first check, and then she fetched the water. That gave her her second check, and then she invited him over. That gave her her third check. Rebecca didn't even know she was selling something, but Eliezer was buying something. Eliezer came in search of something. And so when he met Rebecca at the well, Eliezer didn't have to start wondering. He knew what he came for. There was a list, and Rebecca was checking off that list. Some of us are still single because we come to the dating market and then we are upset it is a market. We come to the dating market and we think, oh, someone is just supposed to, take off a veil from their eye and just randomly, I don't know what we expect people to do. Esther was favored before the king, but Esther was not the only person in a 1-year preparation. I dare to say perhaps hundreds of women were in the same process. I dare to say hundreds of women were in the same process with Esther, which meant Esther was not the only person with a glowing skin. Esther was not the only person with a nice hair. What favor did was that favor made Haggai take a liking to her. Then Haggai told her, oh, in the combination of things to take before the king, do this. That is favor. But Esther was prepared for the market. The way Esther and all the other women were, if you had put them in the market, like if you had brought them outside, multiple men would have found them attractive. But in order for Esther to get the king in particular, Haggai then helped her. So that's what favor does. That's what a matchmaker does. A matchmaker bridges the gap for you to reach the specifics. But you see the general, the dating general, the market general, you need to be open to it. You need to be ready for it. I hope this has helped you. God bless you. See you in the prayer podcast on Saturday. Bye.